Tampa Bay, we're with you for another week, like we are every Sunday, right here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. I'm Andrew Duncan, the Duncan Duo team at LPT Realty. Excited to be dropping some knowledge for you every Sunday right here on WFLA News. Today, I want to get to a lot of stuff today. I want to also talk about kind of the market overview. I am excited because our team is really starting to ramp up production. We hit 50 pending home sales, which was the first time since we had the storms that we've kind of gotten back up to that number. So we're starting to see demand come back. We're starting to see some improvements. We've had some pretty high price sales. We just had a home that we had listed for 2.9 that just sold last week. We've got another one for a little short of $2 million, and some other activity and some other higher price points. Picked up a new construction builder that we're working with that assigned 10 listings to us, and ultimately are starting to do a lot more new construction business. I think that's obviously pretty common in the marketplace right now because the new construction builders can partner with lenders and do kind of bulk in advance buy downs of interest rates to make it more affordable for home buyers. So new construction is definitely something we're seeing a lot of activity in. But I'm excited about the energy in the market. A lot of things happening in Washington that I think will start to trickle to some positive effects of our real estate market. We've already started to see some of the storm activity come back, some of the pre-storm demand that we were seeing. The storms really obviously, shuttered our markets, and we're starting to see some improvements. And I think all of that is heading in a really good direction for our market as a whole. Not just in the luxury space, which you heard me talk about a couple of those, but we've got, gobs and gobs of $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 houses on the market, coming on the market and going under contract. So the activity is definitely picking up, which I think is a really great sign. And if you're someone that's paying attention to real estate, you're curious about your value, you want to know what's going on, you can hit up DuncanDuo.com. We have an online valuation tool that blends the data for multiple different websites, puts it in a graph chart, lets you see what's going on in your neighborhood. Definitely very interactive, where you can kind of work with it a little bit to add features for your home. And so if you want to know what's going on in your specific neighborhood, you can go to DuncanDuo.com and type in your address. And my expectation about our real estate market this year, my producer James just came in and was asking me like, hey, what do you think is going to happen? And I think we're going to have a lot more transactions this year. I think prices are going to rise, but they're going to rise pretty incrementally. And we're going to see a lot more of that probably in the second and third quarter, start to pick up and see some price gains. We're starting to get through some of the storm activity. A lot of those flooded homes have sold and are either being rebuilt or torn down. Some of the rebuilt homes have already come on the market. The teardowns, those are going to be new construction. It'll be kind of a year down the line for most of those to show up. But nonetheless, we're starting to see some activity come back. And like I said, I believe that we will see more transactions this year, assuming no major storms. That obviously is the wild card that we have in the third and fourth quarter. Assuming we see no major storms or other, national economic, events or natural disasters, then I believe that we will see a substantial increase in sales this year. Prices will start to improve in the second half of the year, and preparing us for next year and the year following, where we might be back to seeing some peak real estate numbers. Again, depending on what happens with interest rates, depending on what happens with inflation. Those are all things that have a lot of activity around them that we're dependent on. But nonetheless, I think interest rates are going to kind of be where they're at this year. And I think one thing that I will tell people that I think is smart money right now is buying real estate and buying homes. And the reason why I say that is because when we've seen some price drops. We've seen some depreciation. We've seen neighborhoods 5-10% drops in value. Nothing drastic, nothing Great Recession-like or foreclosure era-like. It's just some moderate drops in values, and some of that's going to come back. But it's a good time to buy because of that opportunity to get a little bit better deal in some neighborhoods. And the rationale behind it is the record-breaking appreciation that we see. If we date back a few years during COVID and post-COVID, when we had interest rates in the threes, We saw home values in Tampa Bay appreciate in some areas over 30% annually. That's a pretty good return on investment. Pretty hard to beat. Not super sustainable. We know that when rates drop, we'll see appreciation again. Now, will we see rates in the 2s and 3s again? Probably hard to believe that. Will we see 30+% appreciation? Also, probably hard to believe that. That was an anomaly, maybe a once-in-a-lifetime fantasy land event. However, could we see interest rates in the 4s and 5s? And could we see 15, 18% appreciation? Yes, I think completely realistic a couple of years down the line, as long as, again, as everything keeps pointing in the right direction and we avoid major natural disasters. So speaking of major natural disasters, we're almost to March and not that far off from hurricane season, all right? It's been a few months since we had them. If you're someone that doesn't have flood insurance, please look into getting it. A lot of people I'm still getting calls from clients that got just crushed by not having flood insurance and having homes flooded. So now is the time to take advantage of that. Don't wait until storm season gets here and then have a storm out on the horizon and try to buy flood insurance. Get it now. So back to predictions for the market. Again, some slight appreciation, probably a little bit better next year and more transactions. And we are already seeing that on my team. I feel like the new presidential administration, some of the campaign promises that they're fulfilling, some of the actions that they're taking, certainly polarizing, certainly controversial for some, but a lot of those things were things that President Trump campaigned on and said he was going to do. And I think there are a lot of those things that he is doing that are going to be good for the real estate market and good for interest rates and inflation, as long as we continue down that path of, reducing government waste, reducing government expense, improving the tax situation, and of course, improvements in the economy and the market will lead to more people buying, more people moving, that sort of thing. So that's my prediction. That's my take on what I happen to see. But if you want to know specifically what's happening with your house in your neighborhood, go to DuncanDuo.com. And that's really important because I can sit here and talk generally about the market, and that's going broadcast around all product types and a really broad geographic area. But there are some neighborhoods that will outperform that, and there are some neighborhoods that will underperform that. For example, the waterfront market probably going to be a little bit rough for a while. You have so much waterfront damaged homes that are pulling values down. You're more likely to have had flood damage near the water, which means more likely that some of those could turn into distressed properties and distressed sales. Eventually, the long-term proposition of waterfront is probably higher values. In the short term, probably lower. And, I had somebody call me and kind of ask me their opinion about what was going on in their particular neighborhood. And of course, I said, go to our website and you can stay up to date. Go to DuncanDuo.com. You can stay up to date on what's going on. But in general, what we're going to see happen with a lot of our waterfront is this short-term value drop because so many of these flooded homes either were cash. I think I saw recently where, some parts of Tampa Bay have almost 40% of the homes that don't have a mortgage. If there's no mortgage, there's no requirement for flood insurance. And there's certainly a lot of people that didn't opt for flood insurance. So anyway, some of those homes turned into fire sales, lower prices, pulling the comps down. The homes that maybe didn't get damaged get pulled down by the ones that did, because sometimes an appraiser here and there or a county assessor's office here and there doesn't realize a house sale that was a flooded sale gets looked at as a retail sale. And then just in general, the kind of stigma attached to some of those areas where you still have a lot of homes unoccupied, they're getting torn down, they're getting renovated. It's just the waterfront market's going to take a little bit of time to come back. So the reason why I say long-term, it's probably a really, really good thing, is, we can go to history and we can look at parts of the country that got flooded and what happened afterwards. And what happens afterwards is FEMA comes in and the insurance companies come in and they want homes to be elevated or raised. Or you can't rebuild. They won't give you a permit. They won't let you go past the 50% rule, which requires a structure to not be more improved than 50% of the structure's value. So when you have that happen, a lot of those homes get torn down and new luxury higher-end homes get put in their place. Davis Islands is an example of this that has happened naturally, not because of storms, but because so many people, their land value became more valuable than their then the structure value and the demand for people wanting to live there was so high that there were plenty of people who had homes that were, the structures themselves pretty much valueless because of what the land was worth. So more of that is going to happen in some of our waterfront neighborhoods throughout Tampa. And you're going to see this, this dramatic change in terms of these neighborhoods that have really small houses. And big homes are going to go in their place. Big new homes, they're going to sell for higher dollars. That the homes that were built maybe in 18 or 19 that are also elevated are going to get pulled up. So in a lot of neighborhoods, the homes that didn't get flooded or that are able to be improved, values are going to improve because you're going to have more higher end homes built in those neighborhoods. So the long term for waterfront is actually positive. The short term is negative. But again, you want to know about your house specifically, go to duncanduo.com. Just type in your address, super easy form to fill out. It can pop up while you're driving. Don't do it while you're driving, maybe at a stoplight or stop sign or pull over, but super easy, duncanduo.com. Plug in your address. It's going to give you a dashboard. It's going to give you multiple different value sets for your home, multiple different companies, and you'll even have the ability within the dashboard, whenever you want, to request a cash offer or to request an appointment with our team to go over it more in depth with you. So super interactive. And I think the reason why I did it, there are companies out there online that obviously you can go and get a value estimate, but they're using their data. The one that we use is using multiple places of data, multiple sources. You'll see 3 or 4 different data sources depending on the neighborhood or part of the country you're in. And look, this can apply. This can be used. Any property anywhere. This isn't just a Tampa Bay thing. If you own a property in Detroit, if you own a property in LA, wherever your property is, our website will be able to show you the value for it. So if you own vacation homes somewhere, again, just go to duncanduo.com, type in the address, and it will help you understand what's going on in your neighborhood. And it'll keep you updated. It'll keep you posted on what's selling, what's not selling, what the values are, what those homes sold at. All that information and so much more. So when we be back, we're going to continue our conversation after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Talked in the first segment about, things going on in the market, predictions, as well as specifically waterfront real estate and what is happening and going to happen in a lot of waterfront neighborhoods throughout Tampa Bay in terms of value, long-term and short-term. I also touched on new construction really quickly. And I want to say this because I think it's super important. I have a lot of new construction connections. My girlfriend is in the new construction business. She works for a builder. So I get exposed to a lot of what's going on in the new construction world. We've got builders that we work with that we list homes for. And, the builders continue to chug along and kind of outpace the competition in the market right now because they're able to pre-buy interest rate buy downs in bulk to be able to advertise and advocate for interest rate buy downs for, a couple of years. A lot of builders are doing 2-year 2-1 buy downs, meaning the first year 2% lower, the second year 1% lower, and then some even being more aggressive than that. So the reason they can do that is scale. The average consumer comes in and prices that out, and either the seller doesn't want to pay for it or the buyer doesn't. Well, when builders do it in bulk, these lenders can do it in bulk, and it doesn't cost as much. So that's a savings to them, meaning that they can go out and offer it in scale. So when builders do that, they attract buyers that might not really be looking at new construction, might look at retail, might look in a different neighborhood, but say, oh, wow, I can save 2 points on my interest by driving 20 minutes every day. Okay, I'll do that. So it's an extra thing that keeps people looking at new construction. However, one other unique thing that we're starting to see, the National Association of Home Builders came out. And while for years, home buyers demanded and wanted bigger homes, we just saw the average home size keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And guess what? We're now seeing the opposite. Research is showing that new homes are shrinking and that matches consumer preferences. You've seen the evolving of tiny homes, people building and living in tiny homes, living a more of a nomad life and traveling and living on land with small homes and getting out in the wilderness and then having maybe a smaller home because they don't spend as much time there. So when it comes to homes that buyers want, detached single-family homes are still the hot commodity. And while there are some buyers certainly looking for larger homes, in 2023, home buyers had a median of 1,802 square feet. However, here's the other thing. While you're seeing more people that are comfortable living in tiny homes and are maybe building or maybe advocating for that, it's also evidence of economic challenges. There are a lot of consumers that end up settling for an 1,800 square foot house that want a 2,000 square foot house, but they look at the cost and say, this isn't the time for it. Because we have seen that kind of real estate market, retraction a little bit. Over the years, we've seen that number go from maybe almost 2,300 square feet to now hovering around 2,067 square feet. And again, other possible explanations for the shifts, smart TVs taking up less space, more minimalistic decor being popular, desire to save on heating and cooling costs are another one. The other thing I think that, and again, so it's an economic thing, but it's also a preference thing. There are people who travel or, don't want as big of a home. One other thing that I think, and I saw the study that didn't reference this, but another thing that I think that is causing some of this downsizing, people just aren't having kids the same pace that they did when they were younger. Look, it's pretty known if you go on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and look and follow Elon Musk at all. He talks a lot about how we are not making babies at the same pace. There are plenty of younger couples that either wait or have less babies, and then maybe people that get married for a second time and decide not to have babies the second time because they did it the first time. So the point is that because people are having less children and families are smaller, then they don't need as much space. So if you look at family creation and compare it to 20 years ago when we were hovering around 2,300 square feet to today and around 2,000 square feet. So in addition to the economic reasons, in addition to the people just wanting to live a more simple lifestyle and shrinking of furniture, shrinking of televisions. I mean, look, televisions back even 20 years ago were still big. You still had big TVs. You go back even further and you had TVs that would almost take up half the room and you'd have to organize big furniture around it to make it not look so weird. Now you can put these flat panel TVs that take inches on your wall. So there's that reason. There's the economic reason. And then, like I said, last but not least, that extra 300 square feet was probably needed if somebody wanted to have a baby. They needed another bedroom, okay? So the number of homes with children is at an all-time low. A third of recent home buyers are single. So they may not need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. They may be good with a 2-1 or a 2-2, and they want more living area or they want a bigger garage. That is something that I also saw recently that I thought was pretty powerful, and I'm going to touch on that after the break. While the size of what a buyer wants in their home has dropped, we're going to talk about what the size of their garage has done, which is one of my passions, after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. I teased this before the break. I want to talk about garage sizes and kind of what's happening in real estate with garages. And if you're somebody that's passionate about cars or looking for a big garage home, we'd love the opportunity to talk to you. I'm a car motorsports enthusiast, car collector myself. Have a bunch of cars, have a big garage, and I'm in a lot of Facebook groups that are out there that focus and talk about, garage design, garage construction, and something I'm really passionate about. So because I hang out with a lot of people that are into cars and want and have big garages, I kind of went on a hunt a few weeks back, and I was looking at vacation properties in parts of the South, Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky specifically. And I wanted something with like an oversized garage and kind of some land and that sort of thing. And so as I started looking, I started coming to this assumption that garages were getting larger, because I was focused on that, and that's who I hung out with. So I did some research, and actually quite the opposite is occurring. So in addition to home sizes shrinking, garages are shrinking. We're seeing smaller and smaller garages in homes in America, especially in new construction. Now, people might say like, hey, why are they getting smaller? Well, one, consumers are starting to trend, and I think there's a push to electric vehicles, which tend to be smaller. And, there's less demand for big trucks being parked in garages. And in general, builders, because they've been crunched, right? They had some bad years back in the Great Recession. They're trying to make some of that up. Builders have wanted to squeeze more homes into less land, so the garage gets reduced to maintain square footage on the house. So builders are going down a direction of shrinking garages to monetize, because they make more money in a lot of neighborhoods. Now, look, there are some neighborhoods where a garage or an enlarged garage will do better than a third or fourth bedroom. Okay. There are parts of South Tampa where most homes don't have garages, where a garage will sell at a premium almost as well as an extra bed or bath. So, but for the most part, construction value of a home, the air-conditioned and cooled footage is more valuable than the garage footage. So builders are looking to shrink garages to help monetize. So it's why garages are getting tighter and tighter. It's why 2 cars fitting in a garage get tougher and tougher. It's why a lot of trucks won't fit in garages. So if you are someone that doesn't want that small garage, one thing that I've noticed that real estate agents make a lot of mistake about, and how there's confusion out there. And so I want to talk to people that are out there on the house hunt that want a bigger garage, that want a workshop, that want space, that want bigger vehicles, that want to put lifts in their garages. A lot of real estate agents see a 2-car garage door and call that a 2-car garage. I'll give you an example. My own home. I have a 2-car garage door and a 1-car garage door. I have a 1-car garage door because I put an elevator in, and I had to make room for the elevator, even though the garage is the same size on both sides. It's a 1-car door. It is not a 1-car garage. My garage will actually fit 14 vehicles. Now, a realtor that doesn't know any better wouldn't advertise that appropriately, probably wouldn't even take pictures of it, and would call it a 3-car garage, when in reality, you could put 14 cars in it because it's the entire first level of the house. So there's a lot of real estate agents that aren't educated on this. They don't know how to look for it. They don't know how to look at the property appraiser's website to get garage dimensions. They don't photo them. I saw a property not long ago for $3 million on the water over in Pinellas County. It had a 2-car garage door, but it was actually 4 cars wide and 3 cars deep. It was a 12-car garage, but with only 1 door. So the reality is that should be advertised appropriately, because what the consumer really wants to know is how many cars will fit in it, not how big the damn door is. So the reality is, again, most real estate agents don't understand that. They don't advertise it right. So you need a real estate agent that really understands that and knows how to look and research the data, that knows how to navigate through the garage door size versus the number of vehicles that will actually fit. But garages are getting smaller, which makes it harder for people like me that look at properties and they value the size of the garage. So let's talk about another phenomenon in that same space for people that are car collectors or that want to sell real estate or buy real estate that has a garage. It needs to be advertised and marketed appropriately. You can stage cars in the garage to show how big it is. You can advocate for that. You can sell with equipment. There's a lot of things you can do to appeal your home to people that want that workshop. There's also a lot of homes in Tampa Bay, especially out in our suburbs, that have detached metal buildings that oftentimes don't get called garages. I saw one not long ago. It was a detached metal building. There was the house itself had a 3-car garage. The realtor, who didn't know any better, advertised it as a 3-car garage house. They took a picture of the metal building that was at a terrible angle that didn't show the door on the metal building that was a fully automated garage door, didn't talk about the size of it, did nothing to advocate for it, and it was easily accommodating 10 vehicles with lifts in that detached structure. Now, a consumer that is a car collector would think that that's enough storage for 12 vehicles. That's a 12-car garage to that customer. The realtor, again, poorly advertised it, didn't check the right boxes, didn't check the right number of parking spaces, didn't mention it in the description, and is drastically missing sales because they just aren't informed about what is likely valuable to that consumer. That metal storage building is extremely valuable to the right customer. Of course, there are plenty of people that are going to look at that and be like, oh, I don't care about that. I want to live in this neighborhood. I'm fine with a 3-car garage, and I'll just use that for storage. There are other people that will value that very highly and pay a premium for it because then they don't have to store their vehicles or their equipment or their trucks or their boat or their RV somewhere else. So if you're selling a property right now and you've struggled because you have that feature, you have go to duncanduo.com, message us. We will help you. If you have a home that failed to sell, we'll give you advice. We'll help you get to the finish line. And next time you're going to sell or buy a property that has those features, make sure to work with somebody that really understands the value of it. And we do, because that's me. I value that. I have that at my own home. I look for that in vacation homes I'm going to buy. I even look for it in investment homes. I bought a property last year behind Chick-fil-A on Gandy in South Tampa on Paul Street. And the reason I bought it is because it had an enormous detached garage that could fit like 7 cars. That's unheard of in South Tampa. And the agent that marketed it just didn't really market it very well, didn't market the value of that very well. And we renovated the garage, turned it into something cool. And again, we had the vision to realize that because it's something I'm passionate about, something I pay attention to. So it's a niche of the market that you really do need the right real estate agent. And again, I see these groups where you see people commenting like, I'm trying to look for this in other parts of the country. I'm trying to look for this. I'm trying to look for this. And my real estate agent isn't helping me. You might have the wrong real estate agent. It's why experience matters when it comes to hiring an agent. You know, I have 40 people on my team, and not every one of them would be the right one to help somebody that needs a big garage home. Just like not every one of them would be the right agent to help somebody sell land, or to help somebody sell a luxury home, or to help somebody buy an investment condo that wants a 12 cap rate. That's pretty hard to find right now anyway. But nonetheless, the point is look for a specialist. On our team, because of our size, we're able to place you with the person that has that experience. So when we have people that reach out to us and say, hey, I want to buy this, or I want to buy this, we're doing what we can to find the right person on our team that has that experience. And I have multiple people, including myself, that are experienced on the garage front. But nonetheless, it is a common thing that garages are shrinking. So if you're out there having a hard time finding a big garage house, I sympathize. I understand. It's baffling to me, but it starts with the builders. And builders are building smaller and smaller garages. They're valuing it less and less, and it's getting harder and harder for people to find, especially in city areas, especially in the urban core. To find those types of garage properties, you've almost got to get out into the suburbs now. I looked, it's funny, when I built my house in South Tampa on Bayshore, I looked for a while. I really didn't want to build because I didn't want to wait that long. I was ready and I wanted to find something, but I'm very much focused on, my car collection, and I wanted a house that could accommodate my car collection. So I looked and looked and looked, and I probably spent a year trying to find a home in South Tampa that had a garage large enough to accommodate me. Couldn't find it. Never found it. And I was looking at expensive stuff. Never found it, so just built it myself. And I think The reality is you're going to have a really hard time finding that large garage house in like a South Tampa. Of course, if you have an unlimited budget, there's some out there. I've seen a few. I've been in a few. I've seen a few. They weren't for sale when I was looking, but there's not a lot of them. So if that is something you're passionate about, you're probably going to have to get out to the suburbs. Again, unless you have a multi-million-dollar budget, you're probably going to have to get out to the suburbs and either, buy something that's been added onto, or that has built a shop next to it, or has a warehouse building, or even a barn. I've seen some really cool, resto, jobs on barns to turn them into garages that can be pretty cool too. So again, you're probably going to have to look out in the suburbs or out in the country and get out of the city a little bit if that's something you're passionate about. So again, you're listening to the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. When we aren't on air, follow us at the Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Message us. Follow our social content. We're constantly putting stuff out there. And I have to stop saying Twitter. I have to start saying X. I have to say X. Follow us on X. Follow us on Elon's X. We're there. We don't post a lot on X, mostly because that's my favorite social media, and I use it just to browse news, and it's the one I look at every day. I love Grok. I use Grok every day. It's my favorite AI. Has been. I'm a fan of what Elon is doing right now with cutting government waste. I know he's very polarizing. I'm sure there are plenty of people listening right now that don't like him or hate him, but I think he's doing some neat stuff. And so, yes, I am on X personally, using it a lot, but we don't post a lot on there. I've got to improve that. So I got to stop saying Twitter and start saying X. So follow us on X at the Duncan Duo, and I'll be back after a quick break here on WFLA News. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan with the Duncan Duo team at LPT Realty. If you're a real estate agent thinking about a change, thinking about a career change, looking to join a team, or looking to join LPT Realty, either one, go to jointheduo.com. You can set up a confidential consultation with us. You can register for our agent night, career night. You can apply for any of our open positions, again, at jointheduo.com. I talked to my team this week about AI. I've embraced it. I use it a lot. I use it a lot in investment analysis. I even plug comps into it. And it is massively changing the game when it comes to real estate and advertising and customer service. And it's pretty powerful. And, my favorite, I mentioned this in the break. I mean, my favorite AI is Grok on X. And, just the other day I plugged in a complicated commercial property into it and said, hey, give me the forecast on this. What do you think about the cap rate? What are the numbers? What's this? What's that? And it was pretty incredible. So if you're a consumer and you're really savvy with AI, I think it's super important. And I think the bar is going to be raised in our industry. If you thought as a real estate agent you were the gatekeeper for information and analysis, that is over. You better be really good at what you do, because AI is going to replace some people, unfortunately. AI is going to allow consumers to get massive amounts of information. So real estate agents better be really good at consulting and better be really smart and better stay ahead of the AI and keep learning and using it, because it's pretty remarkable. And in a lot of ways, it's not accurate. Like I've plugged in like, hey, tell me the value of this property. And it's not great. The automated valuations are definitely better, but there's still a lot of room to move. So it's not as if AI is going to replace real estate agents, but there's just simply going to be some real estate agents that aren't going to evolve, that aren't going to use it, and consumers are going to become more knowledgeable than them because they're not going to use the information in the AI to learn as effectively as they could. So AI is here to stay. If you don't want to participate in AI, if you don't want to use AI, if you're afraid of John Connor and the Terminator and the world going to, a complete AI world with robots, and it's coming, people. And if you don't want to participate in AI, man, you might want to move because it's moving into everything. It is going to dominate real estate communication. It's going to dominate comps and contracts. It is going to slowly but surely, not even slowly anymore, it is going to very quickly evolve into something super powerful in terms of information and service. So if you're using it, great. If you're not using it, you should look into it, especially if you're a real estate agent. You should plug in and start using it to help you craft emails and responses, and it really is pretty neat to see. And when I say it's going to replace real estate agents, I don't believe real estate agents I don't think we're going to see a drop in agent count because of it. I think what you're going to see is the people that don't adapt are going to get passed up and probably opt out, and then new people will get in that are willing to adapt to the technology. It is a market-changing technology advancement that websites, email, text messaging, software, everyone is going to adapt that wants to stay ahead and continue to grow a business. And the real estate agents that don't evolve and that don't use it are simply going to get left behind, and new people are going to come in. And it's interesting because I remember during the Great Recession, we had this market evolve from a normal to traditional real estate market into a market where you had now short sales and foreclosures. And while certainly short sales and foreclosures aren't AI, it was a market-changing thing. And the people that didn't want to do short sales and foreclosures or didn't want to do distressed property sales, a lot of them got out. A lot of them got out of the business. And you know what? We didn't really see an agent count drop. We just saw the people that didn't want to evolve and learn the new tools of the trade get out, and new people get in. So real estate agents, while, we do see short sales today, we don't see nearly as many as we used to. That was a market-changing moment for us. That was a skill set that real estate agents had to pick up, or they were going to get left behind. And AI as a technology is a similar market mover in that it is going to cause some real estate agents that don't evolve, they're going to have to leave the business and not succeed anymore. So what will happen? Again, real estate agents aren't going anywhere. There'll be more of us that'll jump in and say, hey, I've learned AI really, really well. And now that I know it so well, I can jump into real estate because there's all these people that aren't learning it, and they're going to have to get out because the consumer is going to become more educated than them on what they're supposed to be an expert on. So hopefully that helps you understand what I think about what's going on with AI. Make sure to go to DuncanDuo.com if you want to know what's going on with real estate. If you want to engage with some of our AI, you can do that at DuncanDuo.com. Type in your address and you're going to get reached out. We're going to communicate. We're going to keep you updated on your value, keep you updated on what's going on in your neighborhood, as well as give you an ability to get an instant cash offer from our dashboard at DuncanDuo.com. The other thing I want to tell you is to follow us. We have our client appreciation event coming up on April 12th, Sunday. Again, about 7 weeks out now at Amalie Arena. It's going to be in the afternoon. I got to finalize the start time. I think it's going to be anywhere between 11 and 1 in terms of when it starts, probably be 3 or 4 hours long. I'm working with the Lightning to kind of finalize that. But we do it every year. It's a really fun event. You get to go skate on the Amalie Arena ice. We give away some cool stuff, some tickets to Lightning games. We give away merch, signed jerseys, just lots of cool stuff that we do around that event. So make sure that you mark that on your calendar. You can shoot us a message if you're definitely wanting to attend, and we'll make sure to log you in. But we will have an Eventbrite link and a website built out really soon to be able to allow you to simply click register and come to our event on April 12th to appreciate you for blessing our business. So thank you so much for tuning in, and have an awesome rest of your weekend, Tampa Bay.